There is one thing only and one thing only to talk about on this podcast with Jake. And I think we're the first interview, which is very surprising because I would have thought, well, maybe it's true at the same time, but I would have thought that there would have been a parade of hosts waiting, asking, demanding, commanding, begging, pleading on their knees, saying, Jacob, will you come on my show? And I'm sure that's happened, but I believe that he waited for this moment on the Minnesota Tim podcast, a show where he's a frequent guest. And it says it in his Twitter bio. It doesn't say he's a guest on any other show on his Twitter bio. So his loyalty to the program shall receive rewards one day in heaven. Jacob, the AKRON ZIPS are national champions after 10 long years of real life and 4 years of fake life, video game life. How did he do it? Give us the rundown. Give us the breakdown. That's what we're here for.
It's true. I today starts today. I think I have 10 interviews today. But I wanted yours to be the first. No, the game is fun. We talked about it a little bit, I think.
We did.
Yeah, it's
but
a
we
fun
didn't talk
game.
about your national title.
Well, that was the first. Yeah, that was the first one yesterday. I had the first year we made the playoffs and lost to Michigan by like 30. Year 2, we avenged the loss to Michigan, but then lost to Oregon it was my fault, not the game's fault.
Look at you.
I
taking responsibility. I'm sure the players respected that.
Yeah, I mean, we were up by 4. I got a big interception. I'm like, all right, this game's on ice. And then run up the middle, terrible pass. And then they drove down and scored a touchdown in like 38 seconds to win. So if I just get a first down, I win. But year 3, I made it to the final. Yeah, it was heartbreaking. And lost to Kentucky of all teams, and they were not rated very highly.
You kidding me?
And I'll admit, I played that game twice because I was kind of angry. Because I lost the first one. I'm like, let me give him another shot. Lost again. So apparently Kentucky was very deserving. And then year 4, it happened. Somehow Iowa, the 12 seed, was the champion, or made it to the championship game. That was kind of nice because they beat Penn State, who was like a 90-something overall. That would have been tough. Iowa was like an 85, so I mean, very nice. But yeah, it wasn't really close. It was 31-21 or something like that. The key is I finally got a running back. That's the key. He's in the low 90s. So he has very high speed and agility. So he just kind of weaves his way through a defense and really, a lot of short yardage situations, right? You're starting with 2nd and 4, 2nd and 3. But in the past, it was bad. We weren't running the ball well. But now it's all of the phases of offense, right? So you're not stuck at 3rd and 10. The defense knows you have to pass.
Sets up the play action.
I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, but every time I run a play action, I get sacked for like a 12-yard loss. So I've just got to stop doing that. But no play action. RPO. It's all about the RPO.
It's like Tecmo's Super Bowl where
they guess the play.
But also there's a play in Tecmo Super Bowl where if you're the Minnesota Vikings, there's a reverse and then a pitch back to the quarterback, and the play it just takes too long.
It just never works. I remember that. Yeah. It's kind of the same. Play. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if I'm doing something wrong, but every time I run any kind of play action, I have about a half a second to make a decision before I just get, crushed. So I avoid it now. But
so what's next?
I was waiting for this moment. I moved to the Big Ten.
You got moved to the Big Ten?
I moved myself.
You moved yourself. Okay.
I was waiting for that challenge until my team was kind of ready. So we're in the Big Ten now. It'll be year 5. Well, year 1 of the Big Ten.
Did you have to beg and plead and?
No, you're talking to the defending national champs. They want that pedigree of the Big Ten.
That's true.
The hardest part was I thought about kicking somebody out. And
it's just funny that you could have that power to do so. I mean, the AKRON ZIPS are powerful, so.
Right. And I could decide who it should be. Like Maryland felt like the obvious choice, but I decided to leave it. So now there's 19 teams in the Big Ten. Whatever.
The Big 19.
At this point, I used to really care about that, but now it's like, whatever, it's over. We'll just have 1,000 teams in a conference. Who cares?
That's funny.
Something I totally forgot, which I'm guessing, we're not college football, real life, savants. I forgot that they're playing out this year. Washington State and Oregon State are still in the Pac-12.
Yeah, there's only like 2 teams left.
They're the only 2 teams in it, technically. I totally forgot that was a thing.
I wonder what their schedule is going to be. I wonder who's going to play for the Pac-12 championship this year.
Yeah, I think they are. I could be wrong on this, but I thought I read they're playing essentially like the Mountain West schedule, which are a bunch, the schools over in the western coast there. So I think they're playing a lot of those teams. Your Boise State, your San Diego State, your Hawaii, schools like that. But yeah, I would imagine the conference championship is going to be interesting. That's for sure.
Yeah, it would be fun to watch. Did you watch the Minnesota Vikings preseason game on Saturday?
Well, I didn't on Saturday. I watched it back a little bit on Sunday, the first half, because I was watching the Olympics, the gold medal match.
I was turning back and forth.
Men's basketball. I was at the cabin, so I didn't really have good turn back.
Didn't have the ability to go back and forth. Yeah.
I could. I was watching on my phone, so I kind of did a few times when it was
that's tough.
break. But
that's tough, though.
Well, honestly, maybe a good random take here. The gold medal match, the way that basketball game ran, it was so much fun to watch regardless of the basketball. There were so few commercial breaks, and the 10-minute quarters just flew. You couldn't really turn to the Vikings game because other than halftime, there wasn't much of a long break. And it's not like a normal game where it's like every 2 minutes, commercial, TV timeout, TV timeout, TV timeout. So just
are you saying that the NBA should adopt FIBA basketball rules?
Well, just maybe instead of what do they got right now, 3 TV timeouts a quarter, maybe
that's a lot.
Down.
Yeah.
It's just a lot. It just bogs the game down because the flow of it. I just felt like the flow was great watching it. FIBA, what do you think? Should we? The whole goaltending thing would be interesting for FIBA.
Yeah, I think that would add an interesting layer to it. I think it would make the game more interesting. I think the players are for that. And I think it would just add an entertainment to the game that because the rule is if it hits the rim, you can swat it away.
Or swat it in, right? Yeah, either way, it's still a live ball. Yeah.
Right. Because that Curry shot that he made over Victor Wembanyama that hit like the front rim and then kind of like trickled in.
Yeah.
Like technically a player could have swatted that away, right? Because it hit the rim.
Yep. Yeah.
So I think it adds
at any point. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it adds a very interesting dynamic. And I don't know if it makes players like Rudy Gobert more valuable because he's so tall and can get up there so easily. But NBA players can jump. So
right. You saw Victor. Victor was really because the one time he did it, so it was he did like a putback slam, but the ball was like still over the rim. And you saw like 4 of the USA guys going, goaltending, and then they realized, oh, never mind, he can do that. But you saw him do that a few times, a few tip slams. He had one where it was on the rim and he swatted it out of there. So yeah, it changes the game.
Yeah,
I think the other thing that defensive 3 seconds in the lane, I think can go probably at this point because it's hard enough to play defense. And it's if a guy's kind of posting up, you see the NBA, the guys having to do they'll step out, they're in the lane and then they quick step out of the lane and then step back in to try to play help defense. It's hard enough to try to stop these guys. If they want to sit in the lane and have the offense spray it out to wide open 3-point shooter, I don't know. I feel like that was a bigger deal when we had Patrick Ewing and Elijah Wan and Duncan and Robinson and Garnett and all these guys, back to the basket guys on the block. They're just Shaq, right? You'd have 2 guys sitting in the paint. it doesn't really happen anymore. It's more about the 3-point line. So I don't know. That's another
That's true.
Could probably go
That's
away.
true. I would say that I didn't watch much, but I heard that the physicality of the game was much more appreciated, allowed.
Yeah, it was.
They let it happen a lot more. And the worst part of the NBA game, in my opinion, is when a player gets a guy on their hip and then he just launches some garbage towards the hoop and gets a foul. I think that's the number one rule that needs to change in the NBA, because that's pretty good defense. Like, he's not bumping into him. All the guy is doing is he's on the side and he just flails up and they shoot the ball, and they get 2 free throws every single time, which is just ridiculous to me, because I don't think it's bad defense at all.
Yeah, I always err on the side of the defense, because playing defense is so hard. Like, any rule that disadvantages the defense, I'm never a huge fan of. Just because, again, like, especially in the NBA, but at any level, it's so hard to play good defense. Because even the block charge thing, like player control fouls, like they call blocks, and I get charges are tough to call too, but like, you know, just because you have the ball doesn't mean you can bowl in there at 100 miles an hour and knock a guy over. Like, or like they're always like, oh, well, the defender was moving his feet. Well, yeah, he can. Like, he's moving his feet to stay with the offense. As long as he's not doing anything unnatural, you can be shuffling it along. It's not the offense's right to plow him over. So I hate that. But yeah, you're right. No, it was good. FIBA rules make it kind of interesting. The 3-point line, the shorter 3-point line is, you know, I don't mind that.
Advantage Steph Curry.
Yeah, right. I mean, it makes guys like that even more lethal. And then it gives guys that, like, what was that one guy's? The French guy, Yabusale. I think it's Yabusale. You know, all of a sudden a guy like that, NBA range, he was pretty bad when he played for the Celtics for a little bit. You know, but in a FIBA line, you know, he's efficient enough, you know, to be a threat. So it does give guys like that a better chance. But I don't know. I thought it was really fun to watch. Like you said with the officiating, the refs generally did not respect the U.S. the same way that the NBA refs do. And so it was kind of refreshing, you know, to see Joel Embiid flop to the ground, throw his hands in the air, and then get no call.
Right.
You know, because, like, nothing happened.
Right.
So I agree that some of that flopping, some of that, like, intentional, like, jumping into other guys kind of stuff, you know, none of that really happens in FIBA, which is kind of nice.
Totally. Well, J.J. McCarthy, do you think he is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer after his first preseason game with the Minnesota Vikings?
I mean, sure. He kind of checked all the boxes, right? I mean,
he did check the boxes.
He did what he was supposed to do. He looked like how he was supposed to look like. He made the throws he was supposed to throw. You know, I didn't have any complaints. Did you?
No. Everyone is kind of discussing the interception that he threw.
Yeah.
And I think it's as good as an interception can be. There's a third down play. We're at midfield. We weren't in scoring range. Yeah. We weren't in the Raiders' territory, or we weren't in our own, you know, on our own 10-yard line.
Yeah.
Where it's like you throw a pick and it's a pick six or a field goal right away, or, you know, they're in touchdown range. Didn't give up a touchdown. It was a third down play. If it's an incompletion, we're punting, or it's like a 65-yard field goal. He threw a pick.
Right.
Big deal. It was going to be the Raiders' ball regardless. So, I don't know. I thought he looked really good. I thought that some of his throws that he made were very anticipatory, which I thought were good. Like the long bomb to Tristan Jackson down the left side of the field with Justin Jefferson on the call was an absolute sensational throw. And when you look at where Tristan Jackson was and where J.J. here, I got the video actually. When you look at where Tristan Jackson is and where J.J. McCarthy threw it, it's like very anticipatory. So let's just watch the video. Okay, no play action because he gets sacked.
But yeah, you're right. I mean,
the corner where he throws it, I'll try to pause it. He's throwing it right now, and there, look at Tristan Jackson. He's the cornerback's 5 yards ahead of him.
Yeah.
And he lays it over that cornerback and just basically hands the ball off to him from 50 yards away. So I thought that was a very, very nice pass.
Yeah, that's an NFL throw, right? Regardless of, what kind of backups are in for either team, that's the kind of throw you got to make, pretty regularly if you're an NFL quarterback. So, yeah, again, in my mind, he checked the boxes, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing that was like, holy cow, we have, the next coming of Tom Brady. But there was also nothing that so far said, holy cow, did we just draft Christian Ponder again?
Totally.
So
you were on record a couple of weeks ago saying that we might not see J.J. McCarthy this year.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. I don't remember exactly what you said.
Pretty much. I mean, yeah, the first 6, after the bye would be the first opportunity where they might think about it. But even that's I think Sam Darnold's going to be sneakily better than we think.
I think so too.
And I think they're going to be happy to let JJ sit 1 full year. He's only 21 years old, and let him start. Darnold's only a 1-year contract, and just let it go for next year. I wonder if that's where they're heading more and more, barring obviously changes, new information, whatever. But their tentative plan. I wonder if their tentative plan, if they wrote down a little, hey, our perfect plan for this year, what does it look like? I wonder if that's what it looks like.
Yeah. So your mind has not changed based on preseason game number 1?
Nope. Like I said, McCarthy looked good, but Darnold, I thought Darnold looked fine too.
He looked good.
Brief, but, I thought he looked fine. Again, I think he's going to be a lot more competent than, people his name has such an ick to it, right? Ooh, Sam Darnold. Ooh.
Yeah, totally.
It's just, it's warranted to some extent, right? The Jets, he was terrible, / the Jets are terrible. Panthers, he was terrible, / the Panthers were also terrible. This is by far the best team he's played for. Not, San Francisco, he didn't really play. So, why can't he be a 500 quarterback this year and have some decent stats and maybe be interesting? I think it's definitely in the realm of possibility. You forget a lot of times, it's obviously there's busts, but what was he, the 3rd overall pick? It's not like he was a complete, Jamarcus Russell.
Right.
He was a legit.
He's flash talent from time to time.
Right, like he's a legit prospect who's showed some legit skill and has the arm strength, and everything coming out sounds like he's a good leader and just kind of a good overall dude. So, like I said, I bet if I had to guess, it seems like their perfect plan is, hey, let's let Darnold play out this year. Let JJ learn. He's only 21. Let him just kind of go through the whole thing, and then next year he's going to be ready.
I think it's moved up a little bit, in my opinion. I think that J.J. McCarthy is going to start post-bye week. Yeah, I'm ready for it. I'm calling it. And, there's this part of me that is, like, telling myself to just kind of calm down a little bit. It's one preseason game versus the crappy Raiders, and everyone's talking about how great J.J. McCarthy was, and everyone's like, oh, did you see J.J. McCarthy's throw? Did you see his pass to Tristan Jackson? And it's so easy to get caught up in just the madness of a rookie quarterback going out there and performing well in a preseason game versus a vanilla defense versus the Raiders who stink. And although their defense should be okay.
Yeah.
They got some defenders on their team, and they played their starters for a while. But you know what I mean? It's so easy to get caught up in the overreaction.
It's exciting. Yeah,
it is. And
it's just,
well, what if McCarthy goes out there in preseason game number 2 and just stinks? I try not to get caught up in the hype of one game. I try to focus on the consistency of games, but there's only been one game so far. And he looked the part of how a top 10 of how a quarterback in the top 10 that you selected for the first time ever, how you want that guy to look. So that's my struggle right now, is being excited but not overreacting. So I'm not going to say he's going to start week 1. I think that's the overreaction. But I will say that he will start post-bye week.
Well, and like we talked about last time, to the counter argument to my argument, which we talked about, like I said, we talked about last time. that first, whatever it is, 5 weeks before the bye, whenever our bye is, week 6 or 7, whatever our first 5 or 6 games are, it's an absolute gauntlet, right? So the opposite could be true where, hey, maybe they beat the Giants, everyone's all pro Sam Darnold, and then it's L, 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 and then whether it's Darnold's fault or not, right?
Right.
Again, you're playing some very tough opponents. They might look at that bye week and go, all right, we got a week to get JJ ready. The schedule laxes a decent amount. It's a lot easier coming out of the bye, generally, and compared to the first handful of weeks, and go that route. So that's definitely, still a perfectly reasonable argument as well. But what you're talking about is just excitement. It's okay to be excited about the team and excited about a rookie. We haven't. When's Christian Ponder? We had a rookie that we were excited about at quarterback.
Teddy Bridgewater is probably the last one.
Teddy was exciting. Yeah,
he had a little bit.
That was a lower.
Teddy two gloves.
Teddy two gloves. Teddy time. Yeah, there was some Teddy love, but that was pretty brief too with his whole leg thing.
Totally. Yeah. It didn't last very long.
And for Vikings fans, I mean, if you think about it, right? Since after Ponder here, we've had a cavalcade of just random veterans and guys that just we knew were short-term answers, right?
Right. Sam Bradford's, your Case Keenum's.
Right. And Cousins was the best example of it because he was at least good at the time. But, yeah, there was all sorts, go even further back. You have your McNabb and your Josh Freeman and your Mannion and your Gus Barat. And, it's been kind of a revolving door for the last, you could say maybe more like 20 years, right? Besides, Cousins kind of. That was, Culpepper, if you want to go back that far, but even he didn't last that long here.
Talk about leg injuries.
Right, no kidding. And even our best year, right, Favre, it's like you knew that was a 1 year, maybe 2 year thing. So it's like, the idea that, hey, we have a guy that could be elite for what we hope to be, in our imaginations, our excitement right now, we can say, hey, for the next 10 to 15 years, we have our franchise quarterback. Well, that's worth being excited about, I think.
Yeah. Speaking of things to be excited, well, actually, let's talk about that later. But
that's a tease. Do you want to actually tease it?
Do I want to tease it?
Kind of a tease.
Yeah, things. Talking about things to be excited about. Yeah, that'll be later, just in a few minutes. But J.J. McCarthy has knee soreness, and he missed last night's practice.
Ooh, I did see that.
Oof.
Dream's dead.
Yeah, it's over.
Yeah, I just saw the notification come through. Was it anything? I didn't read anything else about it. Was it?
It sounded like a rest day, but little soreness. And
they were last time it was like a scrimmage, wasn't it? Like 'cause it was like a rescheduled This
is a night practice.
Yeah. So I wondered too. Just kind of was not anticipated and whatever. Just kind of because they have their Cleveland scrimmages this week, right? Joint practice and stuff.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, they got their joint practices this week. So, yeah, next Brandon Roy from the Portland Trailblazers, J.J. McCarthy. Brandon Roy would have been a Hall of Famer potentially if he didn't get hurt.
Only time will tell.
Yep. Anyway, back to the tease. The quickest tease ever. Stephon Gilmore left the Minnesota Vikings without a deal. According to Kevin Seifert, he says, Vikings had a really positive visit with free agent cornerback Stephon Gilmore today, per Kevin O'Connell, but no immediate signing. Referred to the visit as a sneak preview of the culture that Gilmore would be joining if it works out. Minnesota Vikings Stephon Gilmore, do you think they sign him?
It sounded like he kind of wanted more money than we wanted to spend. I don't remember. Was it in like the 8 to 10 million or something range or something?
Probably.
Like that? Which it sounded like they were like gonna have to move some money around and do some weird stuff with bonuses, right? Whatever stuff you could do. It's hard to say because he dropped off a good amount. If I remember right, wasn't he the one that Justin Jefferson kind of torched over and over again in the Colts game?
I think so.
That means everything, obviously. But, I mean, the counter argument is, what else do we got?
Yeah, we need something.
Because I mean,
apparently he would have been the best rookie, not best rookie, the best cornerback on our team last year if he was on our team based on the numbers that he had or whatever.
Sure. Yeah, like the fifth grade or whatever.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah.
But no, I do believe that. I mean, because he's not he's not horrible or anything. He's just, getting up there. I mean, I know we have Duke Shelley. We got him back.
It's true. We traded Andrew Booth Jr. to the Cowboys.
Yeah, for that other guy that they have. I remember that guy's name. I don't know. It's one of those things where if that's the difference between the Super Bowl and not a Super Bowl, you'd say, yep, let's sign him. For the Vikings, to see the difference between 6 wins and 7 wins, I don't know. Probably not. You might as well just let your young guys kind of play and see what you got, see who you need to cut next year. Figure out where you're heading, I guess, would maybe be my thought. And I wonder if that's what they're thinking too, where it's, if Gilmore is going to be cheap and easy to add, great, let's do it. But if it's going to be a nuisance, and not that he's a nuisance, but like just signing him in $8 to $10 million and blah blah blah, it's just not for a team
not
that's
worth it.
It's maybe a playoff team if things go well. Is it worth having somebody like that? Probably not. I don't know.
Yeah,
we're probably going to suck either way defensively in our corner. So what is might as well let your young guys suck and learn, so you know what you got in them.
That's true. But he gives them, that veteran presence.
He does. Yeah. I mean, it's
there's something
if
there.
they could figure out a right price, or if we have another injury too. I mean, I feel like we're kind of one injury away from not having anybody. It seems like.
And you would think that his price would go down as there are no other teams currently trying to make him an offer. So I just feel like naturally your price as a cornerback has to come down.
Yeah. If
no other team is offering you and there's only one team interested and there's no negotiating between, okay, well, this team's giving me $5 million. You've got to up that and then I'll come join your team. Well, it seems like a one-team battle right now. Could change if a team loses a cornerback and they're looking for services of another cornerback like Stephon Gilmore. But
looks like your guy, Dalton Reisner's in a battle for the starting position.
Yeah, sounds like that. Sounds like he is. I saw somewhere that he's going through some back recovery things right now. I don't know how serious that is. I didn't really know that until someone mentioned it the other day. I went to Minnesota Vikings training camp practice. I was
just going to ask, how was it?
Yeah, I expected Dalton to come up to me and, dap me up and be like, yo, bro, thanks for having me on the pod. And
Minnesota Tim,
what's going on? But no, he didn't do that. JJ McCarthy did, though. He's like, yo, Minnesota Tim, thanks. I appreciate the kind words. It's very nice of you. So that was to be expected, though. I wasn't surprised by that. I was more disappointed that Dalton didn't come up to me and say anything.
Yeah, I mean, you and JJ go way back. It's not even worth having him on the pod.
Totally.
Because it's just kind of like old, it's
everything that he would say, I am already saying. So, you know what I mean?
Just a JJ McCarthy mouthpiece. You just are in his pocket.
Well, that's true. I echo. I'm like his echo chamber.
Yep.
In the movie The Grinch with Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
He's doing the echo like.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't even remember what he says.
I'm an idiot.
Yeah, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. Yeah, that's the one I remember. But he says other ones too, and I can't remember what those ones are.
I don't either. They're not as funny. The only funny one is the echo changes.
Totally. So like I'm like JJ McCarthy's echo chamber. I'm like JJ McCarthy's echo.
Now might be the wrong time to tell you, but Sam Darnold and I go way back.
Oh. To college football 2005.
So I remember using him on USC college football. So I don't remember if that timeline even makes sense. I don't remember. When did he graduate? Because he was 6-7 years ago.
Definitely not 2005, but I just.
No, I know that. Yeah. Because the last college football was 2014, so I don't think he would have made it. Cause I think he was 7 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So, like 2017 maybe. So yeah, I don't think he would have been. Maybe as a freshman he would have been on USC, but
Is that why you guys go back?
But yeah, that is why we go back. Yeah, so just keep that in mind. That anytime you're talking up JJ, I am obligated to talk up Sam Darnold.
That makes sense. Now that we allowed the listeners to know where we stand.
Yeah,
right.
I'm a Sam Darnold truther. I'm drafting him in my fantasy leagues. I mean, we're going all out.
Let's go. That's exciting. It's very fun. Well, I don't have anything else to talk about. Do you?
What did you think of? We kind of talked this a little bit, but just Ant Edwards in the Olympics. I know you say you didn't watch it much, but do you think did you watch it at all, or did you have any Ant opinions?
I saw some things on the feed. I think the overall takeaway is going to be, he's surrounded by other great players like Durant and LeBron, and what can you get from those guys? And obviously he played a role off the bench, but he seemed like a guy that was excited when he wasn't in the game, cheering on his teammates.
That was kind of like I was happy with. So it was interesting because like his skill set did not mesh with the starting unit. He needs the ball in his hands too much.
Mm-hmm.
He's a creator first and foremost for himself, and then for others secondary, right? So like he didn't fit with Curry or LeBron or Durant, who need the ball in their hands as well. So like Booker started over him, and that actually made a lot of sense because Booker was willing to play defense and shoot threes and pass the ball. Ant wants the ball in his hands, so he was a perfect like sixth man who just took over that second unit, tried to score, blah blah. But seeing his excitement for just being a part, I think we forget like the importance of that or how cool that is. It's of course, like they're winning a gold medal. Like as much as we want to say the U.S. just wins it all or whatever, like at the end of the day, they're still Olympic gold medalists.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is at the end of the day still pretty darn cool. It got Steph Curry to play at 34.
Totally.
He's like, I've never won a gold medal before.
I'm surprised by that. I'm surprised that was the first time. Like when someone said that, I'm like, wow, I can't believe this is the first time.
I think the only thing I know for his child was born like right when one of them happened. So like one of them, I think he was kind of planning on and then had to back out. But other than that, I don't know why they hadn't. I mean, for a while they didn't have all the superstars, and I don't know, it's kind of gone through some changes. But I will say they have to bring the A team every year now. They cannot bring the B squad to the Olympics because they're going to lose if they ever do that. There's just too many NBA guys around the world and too much talent around the world. But
it's lost to Serbia down 13 entering the fourth quarter.
That honestly was like one of the craziest games I've ever seen. It was
It'll be interesting because like LeBron's not going to join the team anymore. Durant might be done. Curry might be done. It's like, who's that next wave of players? They're all great international guys.
I know. Yeah, well, that's what they were. I saw some like sneak peek 2028. What's the Olympics U.S. roster look like? And they all basically have Ant as like.
He's got to be the guy.
He's got to be the guy. They have, Devin Booker will still be around. I'm trying to like, Paolo Banchero will be in theory better and hopefully in that category.
And there's guys that we don't even know that are coming up. That'll be rookies.
People are talking about like Cooper Flagg, who's going to be at college this year, and then
the Duke guy,
his first overall pick the following year, almost assuredly. So there's some talent, but the keys are being handed over. That is for darn sure. Because even like Anthony Davis 4 years from now, probably not. Joel Embiid, nope, probably not. Bam, maybe. But from the guys in this current roster, you have maybe Halliburton for sure, Ant, Booker. Is that it? It might be. It's close, and there's maybe a young guy I'm forgetting about, but. Drew Holiday's in his early 30s as well. It's going to be a completely different roster with Ant probably as the head of it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I just thought it was
Jacob, thank you for joining the pod today.
Thank you for having me, as always.
Yeah, it's fun.
We got to get on the schedule for the 50-50 formidable or favorable.
Yes, we do. Yep.
That's going to
be coming out soon.
Everybody's waiting for it.
I know they are. Yeah, because they want to make their bets. They want to make their over-under bets. Yep. So they're waiting for us to disclose our information.
Yep. I'll end with this. I went to I'm going to help with varsity football a smidge more or a little bit.
Oh, look at the call up. Yeah, it's already happening.
That's not really a call up. I just asked if they need any help.
It's already happening. Okay, let's quit downplaying it. They saw your offense last year.
No, it deserves to be downplayed. But anyway, so I was just, walking around,
coming up the ranks,
helping out, whatever. And
that's where it starts.
Ran into, they still at that group from 2 years ago. I don't know if you might be worth checking your podcast numbers for the one episode where we talked about the bubble bomb, because they still bring it up, and they still bring up the fact that I talked about it on the podcast. So
I'm going to look it up right now.
Yesterday, again, only one of them, I sent one of them the link. He sent me an email in March, like, hey, do you have the link to that episode you talked about our team? Yeah, here you go. But
it's got 72 downloads.
All right.
No downloads in the last 7 days. A little disappointing. Thought they'd be more excited about that.
I know they were hyping it up, but I said Minnesota Tim podcast. But yeah, it just made me chuckle. I'm like, 2 years later, they're still asking and talking about it.
It's legendary.
Legendary.
Those are the type of play calls that you bring to the table. That's why you're getting called up.
Yeah.
First high school. Well, then first middle school. Then, yeah. Right. It's only a matter of time before the AKRON ZIPS call you and ask you, how can we find some of that success that you had on College Football 25? It's exciting stuff. All right, Jacob. As always, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Fran.